This is Judge Ted Poe from Texas. Good to be with you. For decades, the mullahs ruling Iran have run an illegitimate regime that has been designated by the United States as the #1 state sponsor of terrorism in the world. As a former member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and chairman of the Terrorism Subcommittee, I have reviewed countless intelligence reports affirming the mullahs' perverse war of terror on the world. You, the Iranian Americans, know the mullahs and what they have done in Camp Ashraf, Camp Liberty in Iraq. And remember, no one has ever been prosecuted for these crimes. The brutal persecution of your loved ones inside Iran is a government policy by the mullahs of terror on the people. We remember the 30,000 political prisoners massacred by the evil mullahs in 1988, the slaughter of civilians during the protests throughout Iran, the ongoing torture of political prisoners this very day and their families in Iran. These corrupt mullahs violate free, God-given rights of each Iranian. The perpetrators of these crimes take pleasure in the slaughter of the innocent. I am honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with your community while I was in Congress, and even now. I have been to France to meet the inspirational Madam Rajavi and attend your Free Iran gathering and see the passion for freedom and liberty that burns deep in your souls. I've also visited Camp Ashraf 3 in Albania and seen the resilience of the people there. It is to be admired. One of America's founders, Thomas Jefferson, said, "When governments fear the people, there is liberty. When the people fear government, there is tyranny." That's why the mullahs fear you, fear Madam Rajavi, fear the 10-point plan for a free Iran, because these terrorist tyrants fear liberty. They fear the freedom fighters of Camp Ashraf, and they fear you, the sons of liberty and the daughters of democracy. The world is no longer hospitable to tyrants in Iran that sow terror against its own people. And the protests in over 100 Iranian cities continues in spite of persecution. Most of those protests are done by the young. These protesters rightfully chant, "The enemy is right here." They lie that it is in America. America is not the threat. The murderous mullahs are the threat. Yes, Ashraf's cry of liberty, resilience to tyranny, and the prayer of all Iranians to be free from this treacherous regime is loudly heard in the streets of Iran and the streets all over the world. The mullahs know their days are numbered. That is why this regime sent a diplomat terrorist to the heart of Europe to destroy Madam Rajavi and silence her and you, to delay the inevitable democratic regime change by the people of Iran, your organized resistance. But justice came to the Iranian government-sponsored terrorist, and he received a 20-year sentence by a European court. As a former judge, this justice in this court speaks louder than all the words of politicians in any country. The world and the United States will take note of the crimes by the mullahs. The world now completely understands the reckless regime's 40+ years of terror against the people of the world. This is why the United States considers the regime the #1 state sponsor of terror. The world must and will hold these murderous mullahs accountable. The day of reckoning is now coming upon them. The days of the mullahs are numbered. The reign of 40 years of terror against the innocents of Iran cannot be ignored in Europe, and Europe must see with wide open eyes the threat before it. So must the Balkans understand this. The United States must have no so-called talks or negotiations with the government of Iran the outlaws of Iran, until there is accountability for 40 years of crimes by the mullahs against Iran, against the Middle East, against Europe, against the Balkans, and against the United States. Iran has sown the wind of terror. It now must reap the whirlwind of justice. And that's just the way it is.